Welcome to the Bowel Chronicles, where we dive deep into the world of bowel health. I'm your host, Nikki Kilpatrick, and on this podcast we have raw and candid conversations with individuals facing various bowel conditions and illnesses. Through personal stories and shared experiences, we illuminate resilience and courage in the face of adversity. Be reminded that each story is personal and unique. These conversations are not to be taken as medical advice or to replace guidance from a doctor or healthcare provider. Our aim is to inspire and empower through these amazing stories, amplifying voices often unheard. So join us as we embark on this journey together. Sit back, listen, and be inspired. Enjoy the episode. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bowel Chronicles. I'm your host, Nikki Kilpatrick, and today we are joined by Mike, also known as Bag for Life on social media. And Mike is in a place called Widnes, which I'm told is near to Liverpool. Mike, it's so good to have you here sharing your story with us today, so thank you.
Thanks for having me. It's nice to speak to you.
Yeah, cool. So, Mike, we've been chatting there before we hit record, having a laugh and giggle, and I'm really, I'm so keen to hear more of your story. But let's kick back to before you had your surgery. You've had surgery for 16 years now. You're living a normal life, but you do have a diagnosis of ulcerative colitis, which was, I believe, around 18. So maybe we'll use that as a place to kickstart or what life was like before your diagnosis.
So yeah, as a teenager, I was pretty healthy. I used to play football every week. I was on my bike all the time. And then as I moved into like college and things like that, that suddenly stopped. I put an end to playing football and stuff. I decided, I was going to join a band, and that's where my time would be. And over that few years of college and learning and stuff like that, I put on loads of weight, which is pretty normal.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not doing anything, if you suddenly change and you don't change your habits. And then when I was basically in my third year of college. I didn't go to university, but I went to Liverpool Community College to study photography.
Right.
And when I started, I was still pretty healthy, even though looking at me, I probably didn't look at, I was overweight, even though I didn't realize. Suddenly I had a really bad, time of like needing the toilet all the time.
Okay.
And it just came out of nowhere. There was nothing that triggered it. I just remember feeling really bad. But as a teenager, I was embarrassed to do anything about it or say anything about it. So I went for a few months really worrying.
But still
but not
chronic diarrhea? Yeah?
Yes.
Chronic diarrhea for
Yes.
a few months and keeping it to yourself.
Yeah, basically. Eventually I did go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
But when they're asking a certain type of question and I'm still a bit embarrassed to actually explain what's actually going wrong. So I told him some things that were happening to me, like the blood, in the toilet. And then he had a little check and was like, oh, it's probably just a cut, and I was just like, oh, all right then, hopefully it's nothing and it'll go away on its own. And then, over quite a short period of time, actually, I just got worse and worse. And I ended up going to the doctors on Christmas Eve. So it's been about 4 months, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked awful. I was white as a sheet.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor, it was a different doctor this time. They asked me if I'd lost any weight. And I said to them, these jeans used to be tight on me. And they were probably like a size 38 or something like that. And I was pulling them away from me. I had a belt that was really tight and there was so much material left. Wow. That was when I really realized, it was serious then. Mm-hmm. And the doctor was like, right, you're going to hospital now. So, I was in the waiting room. I was leaning against the wall and there was some other patients in the waiting room and they were like, does he want to sit down? He looks terrible. And I was like, oh God. So yeah, I went to the hospital, straight on the camera, having the camera and all that, and like within a day or so, it was, yeah, you've got colitis. We'll get you on steroids.
Right, so you must have been in a really bad flare-up with your inflammation at that time.
Yeah. But I think probably quite lucky, like, you know, this was 16 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the way the NHS is now, I suppose, like, I feel like I was really lucky that, you know, lucky is the wrong way to say, but I got seen quickly. I was able to get a doctor's appointment really quickly. I got to the hospital, I was seen, and they dealt with it straight away. Good. But from that point on, I was never confident, you know, in my life, you know, through my education and through work, because my life was then ruled by, where's the next toilet going to be?
Yeah, yeah. So what did that look like then for, you know, work and coming to terms with you've been diagnosed with this disease that really isn't curable, but it's, you know, there's things we can do to give you a better quality of life. You're basically going to have it for the rest of your life. Like, were you able to fully take that in and understand it, or were you too naive? You know, were you just, I'll take these tablets and I'll be all right?
Yeah, I was naive. I'm quite laid back about everything, really. So, you know, I just kind of took it on the chin and just carried on. And it was just, here's this medication, try this, have the steroids for 8 weeks, and then you're going to continue to take this mesazoline, I think it was called. Yeah. You're going to take this forever, basically. And you know, I was like handfuls of pills I was taking, you know, all the time, and it never really went away. The steroids were obviously, they're like a magic pill that, you know, that for that 8 weeks I was great. But as soon as I'd stopped taking the steroids, then, you know, it wasn't long before it came back. Okay. I went on. They did try me on some different medication. It was always pill based. It was never. I never got to the point where I could have injections or. Right. I can't remember what it's called now, but I know people have got infusion. That's it. I never got to that point.
Right. So how long did you suffer? Because you're living life, trying to work, looking for your next bathroom. You know, I'm sure you probably were even reluctant to eat food because you were running to the bathroom anyway. What, you know, were you able to maintain weight? Were you currently losing weight?
I was really all over the place because obviously the steroids make your face go big, and then, you know, I was able to eat. I tried to eat as normal as possible, but I went through all these phases of going, oh, maybe if I was vegetarian for a bit, that might, you know, not eating meat might help, or eating all these different like weird foods and trying everything like that. And then it getting a bit desperate, and, you know, when you're searching the internet for things, and then you start to get this like miracle cure type adverts pushed at you. But I'm quite skeptical of all that stuff anyway, so I was quite, you know, immune to that almost. But mentally, that it does make you be desperate for something to help. So, I mean, I think thinking of other people that have suffered with colitis and Crohn's disease, I feel like a lot of people have gone for it longer than 5 years before they've finally gone for surgery. 5 years seems like quite a short time to suffer with it, but I did get to that point where I said to the gastroenterologist, like, I've been the toilet enough times to last me a lifetime, so just do the surgery. For a long time, I thought, I don't want surgery because I don't want a bag because of the implications of having a bag, and, you know, only old people have a bag and all that stupid stuff that's still bandied around now. But yeah, it did get to that point where, you know, I've been to the hospital so many times with appointments where, you know, the same thing happens. You go in, you get weighed, you tell the doctor that you go in the toilet so many times a day, and then they go, okay, go away then, or here's a different medication. And so there was one point where they did change my medication, and I ended up with pancreatitis because of whatever it was. I had a bad reaction to it, and that sent me back into hospital. So, I'd had enough of taking medication, and now that I've had the surgery, I don't take any pills. That was the end of it as far as I was concerned. And then
You opted for surgery then? And let's just chat quickly about the type of surgery you had. So you have an ileostomy, stoma.
Yeah.
But you had a procto-colectomy surgery.
Yeah.
Which I want to say is the whole heap.
Everything, yeah.
Can you explain it in your words?
It was funny. It was just like you're going in. It was keyhole surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's funny is then when I went to see the surgeon and the stoma nurse at the same time, all I took from that is that the surgeon just wanted to know that I was young and healthy, like fit. He didn't really care about anything else. They were asking me about how the colitis was affecting me. Mm-hmm. And it was so like passive. So he was just like, right, yeah, we're okay. We're going to go for surgery. So when I spoke to the stoma nurse just afterwards, she was like, yeah, they just want to know that you're fit. That's it. They don't care. They want to know that if you're going to have surgery and you're going to survive, which is quite fun. But a lot of surgeons are like that, I think.
But I suppose that was reassuring for you because he wasn't too excited. Tell me you're healthy. Are you healthy? I'm not going to have any major complications in the other of surgery. Yeah.
So and the stoma nurse that I had she was so good. She was so lovely. She explained everything that I needed to know, but I didn't really go in with a lot of questions either. It was kind of, as I said, I'm quite laid back. It was just like, I just want this surgery. I'm going to end up with this bag, and then my stoma's going to look like this little thing, and then that's it.
So had you done a lot of research up until that point?
No.
You were like, do this surgery. Did you know what you were talking about?
It's funny. I didn't have it other than the stoma nurse that I saw a couple of times. I didn't really have any support around that time, and I didn't even look for it. I didn't even know that the IA existed. Mm-hmm. I probably didn't even know that Crohn's and Colitis UK existed as a charity at that time. I was just getting on with it. Right. Which, I suppose that when I really think back about it, you kind of lose your friends over that time because you can't go out. Mm-hmm. So you lose that support network. Yeah. But then at the same time, I probably wouldn't have spoke about it anyway, just because that's who I am. I don't talk very often about my problems or, or my health or anything like that. Yeah. I'm a bit better now, but that's, it's 15, 16 years later where I'm more open to talking about it. But back then I was just getting on with it.
That's totally understandable. I think men in general don't really like to talk about their health issues. They shy away from it. And I think in the day and age we're living in now is to encourage more and more men, to hear stories like yours, to go and get those checkups, to at least speak to a doctor. The doctor doesn't know them, but they're there to help. They're there to help signpost you in the right direction, to get the help and the treatment that you need. So I think it's important to push that in these days. So you had the full procto-colectomy, removal of the large bowel, your stoma created through your small intestine, and other side of surgery. What does that look like? Ulcerative colitis. Did you continue on treatment whenever you came out of your surgery, or was that done?
No. After surgery, I did wake up in the hospital, and there was, how can I explain this? I said that, I felt like I'd been run over by a bus, or that's what it felt like there. But from that day, that was the end of colitis for me. Yeah. Mentally and in the reality, it was just gone, and that was it. So it was then a new struggle to get used to the bag situation. Mm-hmm. But again, as I had a good stoma nurse, I was quite fortunate that I ended up with the right bags as well. It's, bags that just worked for me. Mm-hmm. And
what age were you when you had your stoma surgery done?
Say again, sorry.
What age were you when you had your stoma?
So was I 25, I think?
Okay.
That makes sense. 24, around 24.
Yeah.
I'm really rubbish with dates. I've lost my memory somewhere along the
If
line.
you certainly you kind of forget that you've 16 years have passed.
Yeah, it's gone now. But
What was that like, waking it up? I know you knew you were going to have the surgery done, but what was it like waking it up, seeing the stoma, seeing the bag? What was your initial reaction? Could you look at it? Did it take you time? You know,
I got used to it straight away. I just wanted, all I can really remember, is just wanting um, someone to hold my hand. It sounds really stupid, doesn't it? But I wanted my partner there, really, just someone to be with me. That's it. I
reassuring.
wasn't really bothered. I wasn't bothered about what I had. I wasn't bothered about the bag.
Mhm.
It was, I suppose it was bad, like when I woke up in the night and it had come off, like the bag had come off, and I couldn't move because it was in so much pain. And the nurses are there, like literally like throwing you out the way so they could clean up.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm more interested in the mess than what's actually going on in your body.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it took a while. It took a while for everything to start working again because I woke up with a catheter, not realizing that I'd need a catheter. And then when they took that out, like my bladder wasn't working for
Okay.
ages, so that had to go back in. So that was fun. Um,
Bless you.
and then eventually everything got back to normal. And
Okay.
I suppose I was worried. Getting home and living with a bag. I probably didn't go out very much.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about it to anyone other than my partner. Um, but I did have that support, so she was there to support me.
Okay.
All through that. I was living at home, so I had that support still if I needed it.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
and then eventually it did get better, and I'm in a lot better place now than I was then.
Was
I
there
know.
was there something that one day it just clicked, or was there something that triggered that to make things better, or do you think it was just a realization of this has actually saved my life, it's given me my life back, and that's the life I need to live now? Or
That just came gradually.
yeah.
Um, silly, strange things like getting a routine. When with the bag changes and getting products that work.
Hmm.
Even when you try all the new products and when something new comes, and then even ordering the products that you need from the companies that are around you, because if you get a bad service from those, that's
Yeah.
quite easily can ruin
Uh,
your enjoyment because you're relying on somebody else to
yeah.
provide you with something. Things like even the underwear that I wear. That might sound strange, but that
Yeah.
was one thing that changed my life.
Yeah.
Um, I
It's
wear I sorry I wear these comfy high waisted boxers,
yeah.
and when I got those, it was like it changed my life because I could go out and not worry about the bag hanging about or flapping around anywhere.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to knock it on anything. I could run about. I could do stupid things, whatever I wanted to do,
Yeah.
and I could go out and not worry about it. That made a huge difference to my life because I would go to work and my bag would be there, on your waistline because on your belt line, and it was getting in the way, and you'd be thinking about it all the time. But after getting the underwear, I know it sounds silly,
No, it's a
um,
huge, huge thing. I
I can
totally
forget
get
about it.
it.
Yeah, I can forget about it now, and most of the time I don't even think about it.
And I think like the same thing I think recurs with when I talk to men who have stomas because of the way your body is and your waistline and your trouser line. Stomas usually sitting around your kind of belt area where females can get away with it, where they were lower waisted or they were higher waisted,
Yeah.
kind of in between. So it is a tricky one. I remember myself going speaking to the stoma nurse and getting cited for my stoma, and she was like, "Right, well, is this the type of like pants you wear all the time?" And I was like, "Yeah, I wear these every day. I have like 20 pairs, but I wear the same type of pants every single day." And she's like, "All right, good, but would you prefer your bag to be hanging over, or would you like your pants coming over it?" And I was like, to be honest, if I'm wearing these pants every day, it's going to have to be over it. But if I need to get high waisted, I can get high waisted. I'm okay with that. Finding the perfect fit it's crucial. And you made reference there to Comfizz, the brand that you use. I use their support belts, and I'd purchased mine even before I went into hospital
Yeah.
as the basic wrap. And there are times when I will just wear a wrap to feel that extra comfort and support. And maybe I am wearing something that's kind of lower waisted than normal, and it just gives me that reassurance that there's something there and it's protected if needs
Yeah.
be. So don't slate yourself for wearing the right boxers. It counts, mate. It counts. So let's talk about some of the fun stuff now.
Okay.
The bits that I'm really looking forward to. You live in, so you eventually cross this hurdle of, okay, this is life, this is how I'm going, got the right boxers, I can tackle the world now, I can do anything. And you literally have your social media, I love, because it's just it's just an inspiration of what life can be like as an ostomate, concerned with exercise and things if you are that type of person. And yeah, so I've seen some things on your social media, some things that I have done, and in nowhere near does it even come far on what you've done. I will say at this stage I've done one Tough Mudder, and I probably will never do another Tough Mudder in my life. But am I right in saying that you have done a few Tough Mudders and even possibly Europe's toughest mudder?
Yeah, I've done 5. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and 2 of those were in the same year
What
as
the fuck?
Falconers. I know. Um,
Okay,
this go on.
let's explain what Tough Mudder is, because these viewers are listening. We're talking bile talk, and now we've gone to health and fitness.
Yeah.
Let's explain and give some detail on Tough Mudder.
Well, Tough Mud it's a long distance run
Yeah.
through fields, muddy fields,
Yeah.
icy water, obstacles. It's an obstacle course run, basically, our race. And it's mainly team building in a way, because it's the least serious of the obstacle course running, because you're encouraged to get over the obstacle and then help others get over before
Yeah.
you move on.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. And obviously there's harder version like Spartan. That's like that's the harder version, basically. Yeah. And then there's more throughout the world, like. And this goes back really for me, the health and fitness side of things. When I had surgery, as far as I was concerned, because I had a hole in my stomach or in my ab muscles, that was it then. I couldn't do any more exercise. That was the belief. What other people thought of me as well. Think, oh no, you're done now. You can't do exercise because of that. So it was a little bit of an excuse, I don't need to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then the weight came back on. My weight was always up and down because I wasn't exercising, or then might have been dieting or whatever. Then it's then kind of the point of change really came when we had our first kids, because then I thought I need to be healthy because I need to be able to keep up.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be the dad that runs about and does all the stupid stuff, goes in all the play areas, or throws my child in the air as high as I can. Yeah. So I thought I need to start putting some effort in, and and then I just started going to the gym. So that was that. And then the next step, we were getting married, so I wanted to make sure I was looking good, as you all do. So that put a bit more emphasis on working out and getting fit and healthy. And then this opportunity for Tough Mudder came up. It probably wasn't something I'd ever really thought of doing or caring about. It never even crossed my mind to do it. But I thought, I have to accept that having a stoma, it is a disability. But for me personally, it's not. It was an extra ability. It allowed me to do things that I probably wouldn't have even thought of doing before.
Yeah, totally.
So me and some family and friends, we'd all booked to do it together as a bit of a team. And then I decided to do it for charity. So I, raised funds for Ulcerative Colitis UK.
Excellent.
and we all did it and had a great time. But when we were going round and I was helping people get over, and I'm like, come on, let's go. And I had all this energy, and I just wanted to run off. And like, I'd done one obstacle, and I'd be like, come on, let's go, guys. I want to get to the next one. Let's go. And I just wanted to do it again, but push myself. So then I did it. I aimed to do it the year after, but COVID happened and it was postponed to the next year.
Yeah.
So the next year I did toughest mudder, which was a timed version. So you were the first lot of runners to go. And it was just like fastest to get to the end. Probably did it about hour and 20 minutes or something like that, which I was made because I put loads of effort into training for it. And then I thought, I want to be able to do multiple laps. I want to be able to go again because I'm that daft.
Insane.
And I was getting to the end of this and thinking, I've got loads of energy. I could just keep going again. And then they brought out the infinity version, they call it, Tough Mudder Infinity, where you're allowed to just keep going and do as many laps as possible in 9 hours, I think it was. And I did that in 2022 and did 45 kilometers.
That's crazy, absolutely crazy. I just want to remind the people that are listening at home, you've got a stoma. You're going through major surgery. Yes, you trained, you're fit or whatever, but you still got a stoma. You still got, still got your bag there, and you're helping people. And like, can I just say, you're going through, I don't know, 23 ton of ice, and in that ice bath.
I don't know about that. Yeah.
Yeah, you forgot about that. And I remember that was my first obstacle whenever I did it. Going into this absolute metal container, and you had to be fully submerged. You had to swim below all those tires to come up the other side if you were going to survive it. I think that put me into shock for the rest of the day. Yes, I went in adrenaline, but it's the one thing that sticks with me, and I go, hell, I'm never doing that again. I was freezing. I can't even take a swim in the sea now because I'm traumatized.
Well, I love that bit. That was the best. That's the best bit. Jumping into the ice. Yeah. So last year I did Infinity again, and I did do Europe's toughest mudder. So that's Europe's is 12 hours through the night, so from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. And I did that all on my own. I drove down to Belvoir Castle near Nottingham, just like 3 hours or something silly like that. I set up my tent. I had this little cow print tent, this little pop-up tent thing, and I was like, looking good. And yeah, I did that run, and like I did 3 laps. It got to about midnight, and I decided that I needed to put my wetsuit on because it was getting cold, even though it was one of the hottest days of the year when I did it. And it took me about an hour to get changed, and that kind of wrecked my distance. Really, I probably could have done another lap if I'd not took so long. So yeah, I did 50 kilometers. I did five laps basically. I would have liked to have done 60. And then I did Infinity again later in the year and did 30 kilometers. But I hurt my leg halfway around and I couldn't go anymore. And at that point I was like, this is not fun. I really like the obstacles. I'm happy to run up those half pipes. I'm happy to dive into the ice water and crawl through anything. But the running did me so.
And going through that electric fence, all those wires cracking, I managed to get through. My hubby didn't get through without getting cracked.
Well, what's strange about that in Europe? So I went through that for the second lap. It was closed on the first lap. The first lap's just like a sprint, and then it opened up on the second. And as I went through, it hit me. I think they put more wires on it now.
Yeah.
So you're definitely going to get hit. And I went through it, and then I was having like a dream of like I could see my kids and stuff like that. And then I woke up and I was on the floor. So it had obviously knocked me out for a second. And people were like, you need to get up. And then I didn't go through it again. I took the forfeit instead because I just couldn't do it. It's a horrible feeling, that's the worst. So I don't know if I'll be doing it again.
There's one burning question here. We want to know the nitty gritty stuff. So, like, what did you do? You done all that overnight, constant laps. What did you do about bag emptying? How did you manage your stoma?
So they have portaloos there. So going to and you have to wear head torches, and you've got all these lights on. So you've got to have them on. That's part of the rules.
Yeah.
So I was able to empty the little portaloo things,
Okay.
and then when I'd finished, I just had like a big balloon of a bag basically stuck to me, and I'm quite lucky because the the bags that I have like brilliant adhesive. I don't have any leaks problems really, so I was fine with that. So I was like, I really need to empty this bag, but it's filthy as well. It was black. So I just closed my tent. I got in my tent. I closed it up. I just popped it off because it's a 2-piece. I put it in a bin bag.
Yeah.
Double bagged that. Put a new fresh bag on top. Obviously, the sticky part was a bit dirty around the outside, but I wasn't bothered because I was in a state.
Yeah.
And then I just put that in the bin. I was fine. It wasn't a problem. But I'd not actually thought about what I was going to do until I got to that point.
I love that because my saying is it's only a problem if you let it be a problem. Like improvise, adapt, and
Yes.
overcome. It's like why stress? Why worry about those things? Because at the end of the day, if it comes off and you have a blowout, you can do a change. You're wearing a wetsuit, you've got a support band on. Like it's
Yeah.
really not the end of the world. And you're going to be mucked to the eyeballs anyway.
Yeah, the way I think of things now, like more recently, I thought the only thing stopping you from doing anything is your mind. Really, your bag's not stopping you from doing anything.
Your
I was on
only limitation.
yeah, I'm on holiday when I was on holiday, and you're on the pool with everyone.
Yeah.
The only thing stopping me from having my bag on show is my mind. Like
Exactly.
it's that no one else is bothered. There's no one else is bothered about what you're doing. So
Yeah.
It shouldn't really stop you from doing anything. Your bag, it's not really stopped me from doing anything.
Yeah. And by the sounds of it, the only thing it stopped you was initially whenever you'd had surgery and you didn't want to go out and you didn't want to talk to anyone, you didn't want to show anyone. And you've got to do what works for you until you come to terms with that. And then you just seem to have smashed the last 16 years. I mean, endless. Well, your page is just full of constant exercise in the gym, your holidays, your trips, your Tough Mudders, spending the night in a field, in a tent, it really doesn't hold you back at all,
Yeah, well, when I had surgery, then I didn't have that support.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think to look for it, but it wasn't obvious, and social media really wasn't even that much of a thing then either. So there wasn't that visibility of other people doing stuff, so it was just assumed that I've had surgery and that's it, me, and now I'm done. I can't do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And over time, I thought, I've got to start building back up. And now I can prove to people that I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
stuck with a bag. Then you can't do anything with a bag, and people feeling sorry for you because you can't do anything.
Yeah.
So that's why I started the Instagram side of things. Really, it was mainly to just be of a diary for the exercise that I was doing, but it turned into a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, did you see other people on social media sharing their journeys? Did that encourage you to share yours, or did you just start to blog your exercise and
Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see it, so that's why I decided to
yeah, put it out
put stuff on, because I had my personal,
there.
like my private side of Instagram, which is for friends and family.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, they're probably all getting bored of me videos of going to the gym
Mm-hmm.
and running, the trackers on me watch and things like that. So I'll do a public version, and then if I'm raising any money, it can be a bit more of an advertisement for the charities that I'm trying to promote. That's probably the right word I'm looking for. So it just turned into more of that. I don't get a lot of messages on Instagram really, or but it's just.
Well, I think you make a good um, advocate for men in sport, with ostomies. I love the content on your page, and I will say your handle, Bag for Life, will be below in the show notes. So if our audience is listening or watching today, go check out Mike's Instagram page, give him a like, give him a follow. If there are questions that we haven't answered here, do drop him a message, and I'm sure he will take the time to reply if he can. If he can't answer it, I'm sure he'll signpost you in the direction of somebody who will be able to help. Mike, before we do wrap up, I want to quickly touch on the IA, because you've mentioned IA a few times in our chat here. So IA is the Ileostomy Association, and do you want to just explain who they are and what you do with the IA? I know we're not promoting it, but I do want people, if they're listening, if they have an ileostomy, to hear about this amazing charity.
So I went to the community events that were set up by the people that make the products, make the medical supplies and things like that. And I would go every few months or, every year. And that's how I came across the Ileostomy Association. And, it just made sense for me to raise money for them if I was doing charitable things, trying to raise money. And we have that, what's I can't think of the word I'm trying to do now, but the company that I work for will double the money that you raise up to a certain amount. So that just encouraged me to do more things for them. Ended up being contacted by them so I could share my story in their journal.
Very good.
And then, I'm not the most confident talker, as it might come across. So I'm trying my best. But it came about that they do a one-to-one support volunteer, like a program, really. So I thought, I'll put myself ahead for that, because it'll help me with the confidence in speaking to people. But also, I've got all this experience, and I didn't have the support. So when I had my surgery, so I should help others. I'm someone that wants to help others, but to have that network in place where officially I could be contacted and help someone. So that's how I got onto that. So, if you don't have to be a member of the IA to use the service, and you don't even have to have an ileostomy or a pouch, an internal pouch. You could be a carer or a parent of someone with a stoma. You can get in touch with them, and then they'll put you in touch with someone in your area if they can. And it's just good to chat to. You're just someone to talk to. You're not, you don't have to be given advice. You can only talk about certain things, within reason. But if they've got any questions, just there to have a chat and ask. And then the ambassador role came about with that. So I've done some interviews. One of the things the IA wanted to do was to make sure that GPs ask the right questions to people that have stomas or are struggling with colitis or Crohn's disease and things like that. Because as we spoke about, when I went to the GP, I was rubbish at providing an answer. But at the same time, the GP probably didn't ask me the right questions. So I did a little. Sorry if you heard that noise. There was a train go past. So we did a kind of video blog with a few different patients talking about our experiences and things like that, and that was put into like adverts for the IA, and they were shared with GPs as well, so that they could have some stories that they could share with patients if they needed to. So things have just moved on from there. They are a great support network, and they can always put you into in the direction of professional support if you're someone that needs it.
Yeah, I mean, I went to see my stoma nurse a few days before my surgery, and she gave me a little pack, sitting here in my office, from the IA. It was really, really helpful. And she said, "Look, would you like a phone call from a buddy if we can pair you up with someone?" And I said, "Yeah, no worries." And she said, "Oh, the only thing is you're having surgery in 3 days. It'll probably be like next week after you've had your surgery, but we'll do our best." And the day before my surgery, I was actually in Liverpool, at my daughter's graduation, and it was funny because at the time I couldn't eat solid food. I'd been on shakes for 3.5 years, and of course after the graduation, everybody wanted to go out for a sit down meal, and I was sitting with my shake, and my phone rang, and I just knew it was a caller withheld number, and I thought, this is the phone call I'm waiting on. I'm
Mhm.
going to take this call. It got up from the table. It was the best excuse ever not to be sitting there when they were all feeding their faces. And this lady, oh, an absolute blessing. She spoke to me on the phone for nearly an hour, and she was the kindest, sweetest, reassuring lady that I just needed to hear the day before my surgery. And I will never forget her. I've since been able to meet her in person a few times, and I just thought, oh, this is so crucial that people need access to these bodies, to these support people before they go through their surgery. And I think, yeah, again, we're putting it on here because we want to push it out there. We want to get that information out there. Sometimes information isn't just hitting us up the face when we're in those situations of getting ready for surgery. So, yeah, highly recommend that if you're someone who is being faced with an ileostomy or the carer or loved one, to look up the Ileostomy Association UK online, and you will be able to find it. And in fact, I'll put your handle below here, and I will put the IA handle below in the show notes. Remind me, Mike, to do that later
Right.
because I'll forget. So, looking at all of this, Mike, like you were a different guy when you got surgery. Young and naive at 18, being diagnosed with UC. But since having surgery and how you've tackled life and everything you've stepped into, like to go from no confidence to like fully stepping into this, to stepping into an ambassador role, to putting yourself on social media, like being real, raw, authentic, not hiding away from it, putting your stoma bag on display whenever you're on holidays, you know, and as you say, the only limitation is your mind, is yourself. I think you've done incredible. You have done so well, and like you are an inspiration. So don't diss yourself, don't slate yourself for putting all that stuff on social media. Keep doing it because there is one other Mike out there that will be interested in sport, who will maybe have gone through a surgery and think, that's it, it's over for me. I won't be fit and healthy anymore. You can't do those things with a stoma. It's absolute nonsense. Like I said, you're your only limitation. So this man before our eyes, or that you're listening to today, can do a 44-inch box jump. Am I right or am I wrong?
Oh yeah, I don't know if I can do that anymore. My knees might not be able to take it, but yeah, that
You've
is a
done that.
possibility.
Yeah.
It can be
Um,
done.
it can be done. Yeah. Also, I will say is wear the right support, bands and things to protect
Yes.
yourself when you're exercising, of course. And if you've got any questions about that, drop Mike a message, ask him what he uses. I'm sure he can recommend good support wear for that. Mike, it's been so good to talk to you today. If there was one little golden nugget or one thought that you wanted to leave with our viewers today, what would it be? It can be
I
anything.
told you. I told you I'm not very good at thinking on my feet.
Well, put it like
But
this.
it's
If that 18-year-old boy was standing in front of you today with chronic diarrhea or blood and was afraid to speak to that doctor, you've done videos there. Like, what would you say to your 18-year-old self?
you've got to be more open. You've got to, it's fine to talk about your problems. You've got to be able to find someone to tell what's going on. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
um, that the 16 or 18-year-old version of me would never done this, not even done this chat, over the phone to someone.
yeah.
The, the, but having the bag has allowed me to become a more confident person,
Hmm.
than I was before.
Yeah,
You know, my mind still stops me from doing other things, from doing things, but I have problems in my life, but it's nothing to do with my bag,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know. Whereas where the thoughts are, that's the thing stopping me from doing anything, but it's not.
Hmm.
It's just the bag is a thing to allow me to. It's allowed me to do whatever I want to do. The
Yeah,
only thing now stopping me is my mind from stopping me from doing those things. And you'll find ways to get around that. there's always blockers, but you just got to find a way to get around that obstacle, which is, you know, that cheesy link back to the Tough Mudder. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that, but there is you've obstacles like that, but you know, you find a way, and if you can't get over it yourself, find someone to help you get over it.
Yeah, cool. I flipping love it. I love it.
it.
Thank you so much, Mike, for your time. And again, you know, if you're a male, like we all have access to some form of social media, asking questions, you know, looking at videos, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. There are people out there, there are podcasts out there with all the different poop talk, you know, and hopefully someone will be able to shed some light on what you're going through, you know, and give you some help and support. Always, as well, go seek medical help and advice from those who are professionals. We're just sharing our stories here today. But yeah, guys, come back. Join us next week for another episode. At the moment, I am hitting hard with males because there's this real drive in me for men to share their stories and for you to hear more stories from men. So come back again next week for another episode. For now, it's over and out from myself and Mike. Mike, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.